The lesson.
Oh, yeah.
DJ Bonez.
How's it going, brother?
Good, man. Good. It's been a few years since we've seen you come out the woodwork, so we appreciate you taking the time, man.
Yeah, man. It's been a long, long time. I appreciate it. It's good to be here.
Now, interesting how this interview actually came about, because you actually reached out to us online and I didn't actually think it was you.
Yeah, actually, I've been watching some of the interviews you guys have been doing with a few people, and some questions sort of came out in some of those interviews and some assumptions, and there's been obviously a lot of talk about where the fuck am I and what I've been doing and that, and it just makes more sense to go, okay, I can just say it on a platform like this, so then everyone can stop asking questions.
I mean, look, for me personally, as a dude that was DJing for 10, 15 years, yourself, Stain and J-Red were probably my three biggest influences from Australia. And I can't remember the first time I came across your music, but I remember the first time I met you was Muffin Plutonic, I think around 2009, 2010, Adelaide Unibar. I think we discussed it with Stain. You know, I had a couple copies of a Mary J record and you jumped on and tore it to shit, and I pretty much threw them in the bin after that. But obviously you're doing your thing for quite a while before that. And so I wanted to start, I guess, where it all started for you. Now, you're originally from Sydney?
Correct.
And so the whole DJing thing for you started out in Sydney.
So I had a school buddy that I still keep in contact with to this day. And I used to go to his house before we go to school. And I used to basically, he had like a bit of a collection of wax. And his dad actually had a whole heap of stuff like James Brown, you know, Isley Brothers, all the old funk and that. And jazz records and all that. And I used to just be going, whoa, what's this? And he actually got me introduced to, I mean, I already knew what DJing was. Like I used to see it in the early days. I'm gonna back up a bit. Used to see things like, I think the first thing I ever saw that made me go, holy crap, was Derek B. Bad Young Brother. It's a video clip of him rapping, but he had like decks all lined up. It was like 8 decks. I was just like, holy shit, what the fuck is this? He must be doing something with those 8 fucking turntables, not just sitting there. But he wasn't, it was all bullshit. It was just all for show. You know, but I mean, I was actually quite intrigued. I already knew there was DJs and, you know, mixing records and all that, but it was the first time I saw it, you know, in a way that there wasn't someone just saying, I'm my own artist and I'm a DJ. And yeah, I can rap. So I got interested at wax, you know, in wax and records and mixing and all that. So we used to scratch before scratch up. He tore the shit out of his dad's records before school. His dad, God bless him, he wasn't a big fan of it. But and then that's all we do. Like we would just like cut up at his house. And just explored records and you know, looking at the back covers. So like, okay, who is he? Oh, he's on this cover. He's on this album as well. So I started to piece things together. And I used to, I guess, DJ at school and backyard parties. And my stuff used to get hammered. People used to spill their shit all over the turntables and, you know, my records. I'm like, yo, like, you know, the movie House Party 1 when Bilal, all his shit gets fucked up. It's exactly like that. Yeah. It was like that every summer. But I loved it. I liked playing for people and playing for, you know, crowds and stuff and just mixing and all that. And then obviously at the time, back in the early 90s, I mean, back in the day, I used to be a dancer, you know, I used to always, you know, New Jack Swing and all that sort of stuff, you know, And people go, you're whack, you can't, this, that. They used to want to play basketball, you're whack, you'll be good at that. And I was with DJ, you're whack. I said, no, fuck that. This is one thing that I'm not whack at. So I just went, and then the funny thing was that people used to call me whack back at high school, the ones that used to come front and show and watch me play. That was really funny. But no, I guess it's something that really stuck. I wanted to stick with it because I just really enjoyed it. You know what I mean? And it felt like something I can do blindfolded. Like a skateboarder with skateboards and stuff. It just worked for me. Yeah.
And then, so if that started around, high school, where did it become a thing where now you're actually out there buying records, or, like some people used to back in the day, gank records? When did it sort of slowly progress into something where you were like, oh, this is something that I want to take a bit further? Yeah.
At the time, I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford records. So I didn't gank wax. I mean, nothing like that. I mean, I really wanted to. Damn. Wasn't a good thief. I was too paranoid. What I did was actually, I think was pretty smart, because the problem I had was, and I'm giving myself a bit of props, directly, which is weird. I didn't have many records. My mate did, and he didn't want to give them up. But the first record I bought was 7A3. That album, I can't even remember what it was called. Cool in Cali, that's it. Yeah, Cool in Cali. And then I looked at the papers, and there was a few people that were selling bulk records. You know what I mean? So these are ex-DJs that had, they're just getting rid of stuff. I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
And then I saved up a bit of cash, and then I went there and I just started digging through all this stuff and started seeing the funk stuff that I was liking. I started seeing all the hip hop stuff that I was liking, and some of the jazz stuff I was liking, and I just started grabbing shit from. Even sometimes I was grabbing records I didn't even know what the fuck that it was, because I just like the cover. I thought, all right, this is going to be fucking good. All right, there's something in here, and then it was basically really just a whole bag of tricks, and I'd just go back home. I'd have one turntable that was crap, and another turntable was a whole different brand. I went to Tandy and I bought a realistic mixer. And my mate had a Gemini, so we used to sort of flip them around and literally just practice a lot. Like I wouldn't sometimes go to school because my parents would go to work at the convenient time where before I had to go to school, and they'd come home conveniently after I would come back from school. Because I didn't care for it. I didn't care for school that much. I saw something, I went, I know that if I apply myself to this, it's going to be good. It's only going to be up. So I would practice sometimes maybe anywhere from about 6 to 12 hours a day. That's, you know what I mean? It was, heavy. And after a while, I didn't need to. I started things started working out, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
The lesson. 927. Oh, yeah.